From Your World Discovered, my name is David Ewen, and here on E.P.N, my guest today is Owen Watson. He is the author of an inspirational self-help book called What Matters Most: Family, Friends, and Foes. Owen, welcome to the program.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate being here, sir. Of course, I say David.
Very good, very good. It's nice to have you, Owen. And let's first talk about what the book looks like. You've got behind you the cover of the book. Describe to us how that cover was made, and then we'll get into the book itself.
Okay, I have to be honest about this, as I will about everything, sir. The marketing for this, or the cover of it, actually came about from my wife. I give her all the credit. She was like, take a look at, or have it be someone running with all of life's challenges and stuff that is ahead of them, going up a hill and showing that they can overcome it. So it's meant to be inspirational with the family, friends, and foes, everything that entails any negative impacts or positive impacts is what thrives, that pushes you to thrive forward. So it was my wife's idea.
And in that, those obstacles, family, friends, and foes, tell us a little bit about those obstacles that you are relating to and
Okay,
referring to.
will do, sir. Or David. Sorry, military type, so I keep saying so. Okay, family, friends, and foes. What I refer to for each of them, beginning with family, you look at things that happen in your life or within your family, whether it's like for me personally, it was the death of my brother, the death of my grandmother, and some other individuals in my family who have passed away. Issues that you have to deal with. How do you cope with those things? With friends, you have some friends who are supportive of you, then you have those friends who are supportive of you to an extent, and then you have those who just don't want to support you at all. So I had to deal with some things, dealing with friends or people who I thought was my friends, even within the military realm and another organization that I work for. And then with the foes, of course, we know who those foes are, but do we really know who the foe is? So it really gives to the background of the foe really being the enemy, the devil, how he can work through people, and how we look at people and we take the blame out on them for what's going on or what is being done against us.
So it sounds like that you help identify what the obstacle is up front before tackling the obstacle, just to know what it is. And I'm fascinated that you were able to break down the three categories of support that you have. There are those that are supportive, then there are those that are limited in their support, and then there are the others who are not supportive at all. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Okay, for the ones who aren't supportive at all, it's like when you, like for me, there was an organization that I worked for. I don't want to name, but there was an organization that I worked for, and one of the things that stood out in the organization was that they thrive on, okay, we're a team, work as a team. So me being a Christian, a believer, they wanted me to go through an initiation process, and I was like, I don't feel comfortable going there because part of that initiation process says that you will not help anyone else who doesn't go through this process. I'm a person who believes in helping anyone and everyone, so I could not give an oath. You have to put your hand up and give an oath to it that you will not help anyone else who does not go through this process. So I, it turned out that those very ones who loved me as a brother, then all of a sudden, when I decided not to go through the initiation process, that they all became foes. And then I was ostracized and put into a room by myself for 4 or 5 months, a huge room, just given a computer to work with. And everyone else within that organization was told not to have anything to do with me. And then eventually had to bring in what they call the lawyers and stuff to kind of get things back in order. But I look at God saying, this is just the time that I'm giving you your space so that I can do a one-on-one with you, as well as giving those who I'm working with and within that realm of those individuals who are struggling with their identity in me. Because at the end of it all, the most amazing thing at the end of it all is how those who were struggling with their identity in God came to me, and around there were like 84 personnel involved with it. 62 came back and said, you know what, as a believer, I should not have even sworn into this organization, to this initiation process either. And they all came back and shook my hand and said, thanks for taking a stand. I apologize for being against you. God word, if I can be for you, who can be against you? So that's where the foes came in. At one of the that's just one of the examples that I can uh, iterate on from the book.
Now you use the word foes,
Yes.
also enemy,
Hmm.
and in a book I read that the way one can discern evil is to think about the deception that's out there,
Hmm. Correct.
the manipulation that's out there,
Correct.
and the action based on selfishness out there.
So true.
How do you clearly identify those behavior patterns of a foe so that we can recognize it and discern so that we can be shielded from what might be coming against us?
How do I recognize it? Is first of all through prayer, always walking and talking with God. And a lot of people say, "Well, I have a relationship with Him." Well, a relationship is that He knows about you just as much as you know about Him. So what are you hiding from yourself that you're not sharing with Him? So relationship with Him, and it's for me when I don't go around just looking at people saying, "Okay, are you an enemy or a foe?" Or I mean, are you an enemy or are you on my side or against me or whatever. I like the word tells us that we will know them by the fruit that they bear. So yes, you can tell me all of these good things or whatever, but sooner or later it will be revealed to me. Either I will see it or someone will come back and tell me or something. Hey, be careful of this right here. Watch this right here. So I take it with a grain of salt until I actually see it or witness it myself. Something that the person is doing that is unethical or immoral or something like that. But I don't really count many people as being foes. That's what I've just recently learned to come to understand. It's not to view people as foes, but the enemy that is working through the people is the foe. So that's what I try to see is look beyond the individual. Why is this person doing this? Is it a selfish thing or is this something that this person just born and bred to do? And to see that or to understand that it's just really come with a relationship with God to where He can give you that discernment. It's nothing I can do on my own, nothing that any of us can do on our own. We will really have to depend on Him to know who is a friend and who is a foe.
So we've talked a little bit about foes, and that's a good example. It's not that they're an enemy, but the enemy that's using a person
Correct.
to become the foe.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk a little bit about the other categories which are identified in the title of your book,
Okay.
which is what matters most: family, friends, and foes. Tell us a little bit about family and friends.
Okay, with the family, it comes down to who is really there for you. One thing about family that I come to realize is that, brother, I mean, just because someone is blood related doesn't necessarily mean that they're for you or that they're actually family, because you find out that a lot of those friends become like family. And then you look at the life of Christ when He says, "Who is my mother? Who is my brother? Who is my sister? Except for those who do the will of my Father." So those are the ones that I consider the family. Who is it that is really there supportive for me beyond just the bloodline, but the Christ bloodline? Who's really there supportive for me? And that's what I look at, that's what I write about within this book right here is understanding that don't look at your don't we set too many high expectations on the bloodline, the biological family, but we neglect the Christian family, the base of our faith, of people who we really can go and talk to. Because there are some experts out there who know that many that know way more than our family. Our family may want to do the right thing for us, but it can also turn out to be the wrong thing. But we're going to listen to them over someone who is, we have to look beyond just our biological family, look openly into the broader picture of family being in Christ. Now, with the family, friends, and those. Now, with the friends, we go into, okay, who's really there helping me through this? Who can I really turn to talk about this when I'm at work, when I'm going about my daily activities or whatever? Who can I turn, or who's coming to me to encourage me? Because when I was in that office, like I spoke of earlier, and I was put away, far away in the building, in the room by myself for 4 to 5 months, and there were a few people that came in there, and I said, you know what? That's a friend. They came in there to check on me. Hey, how you doing? Let's go out to lunch. I don't care who sees us. Let's do this anyway. You know, and those are the ones that I count as friends.
There is a segment that I was recently looking at on NBC Nightly News where I was on it, and I had mentioned the church is us and it's
Mm-hmm.
the people. And what I was relating to is the family.
Right.
Tell us, can you expound a little bit more on that about the church as a family?
The church is a family. To me, I come to understand the church being a family are those who are, first of all, have take the values of God serious. Take the word of God serious. Not just speaking it or saying it because there are cliches, there are words, name it, claim it, or whatever type things. No, I'm not in this right here for what I can get from God. This is what can I allow God to do through me. And that's how I look at, or that's what I look for within the family of God. What is it that you're allowing God to do through you? Not so that you can get the glory of, hey, look what I've done, look at this great work. But this is the least I can do for you because it's not me who's doing it. It's an honor for God to use me to do this for you. So that's how I look at the family of Christ being those who can just go out there and do it. Like with, there's a friend of mine. He's a pretty wealthy guy, but you can never tell it. He's always done at the community center. He's always on the streets, and he's just out there just taking care of people, coming out of his own pocket without anyone knowing. And people always want to donate to him, and they don't really realize that this guy is like he's pretty wealthy, but he doesn't let anyone know. He just dressed down and he goes out there and he genuinely cares for the people. And that's why I look at the family of Christ as being people who can pray for you, who can be there for you, who can encourage you and give you guidance and assistance, keep you on the straight path of where you need to be, according to His will.
When you released this book, and again, the title of the book, What Matters Most, Family, Friends, and Foes, when it hit the public, what was the thing that surprised you the most?
The thing that surprised me the most was the feedback that I've gotten. And the reason why it was surprising, because there were people saying, wow, this book was very encouraging. I couldn't put it down. And here's the thing, when it was given to me to write the book, by God, that's the only one I can really attribute this to, because I had taken off of work for 1 week so I can take care of some school matters, because I'm going for my PhD, so I'll take care of some school matters. And that week I was off, I didn't get any school done. It was like God said, just write, write, simply write. So this book is totally dedicated to him for because it was him who said to just write, and that's what I did. I've written it all within 1 week, which I count as being nothing but God. And here's the other thing out of it: my wife just happened to be an editor, so she was there alongside me late at night editing the book, and then we sent it in. So the one thing that surprised me was, wow, God, look what you've done, and to see people being inspired.
Glory to be God.
Yes,
That is wonderful. That's a great testimony. 1 week, and your wife happened to be
yes,
an
E-
editor.
exactly, true.
Now, as this book moves forward,
Yes.
now that it's been out, who do you want this book to go to? Who is it you're trying to tap into?
I want to tap into people who think or believe that there is no hope, that their situation is so overwhelming they don't see a way out, and understand that, hey, if you sit down, sit back, be still, know that He's God, you'll see the bigger picture. It's you're only a piece of it, but there's something bigger going on here, and that's what this book talks about: the bigger things that are going on in life, things that we don't see with the natural eye, but that you can reflect back on and say, God, if I would have moved away from that spot for 1 day or an hour, or acted too soon, or been slowful in my actions, I could have messed this whole plan up. But it was because of you. So I'm looking forward to touch people who seem that there is no God, or they've given up on God, or they're just become God is just they just use God as within an apathetic, like just complacent. That's the word. People that are complacent in God. Those are the people who I want to touch.
In a church that I'm familiar with, the one that I'm part of, we've talked about this notion of a state of slumber.
Right.
And how do people overcome that when they read your book? What is it that they're going to be learning?
What they're going to learn is that if he can do this right here with all this that he went through, let me just give you just a snippet example of something I went through. I was ostracized, set aside in Washington, D.C., and, by myself, first time over there, and I was ostracized the first 3 months. That happened. My brother gets killed in a drive-by. My grandmother passes away. Two uncles pass away. This all happened within a 2 month period. Then my wife at the time says, you know what, since you're already going through this, I want a divorce because, you already handling all this right here. So figured that it's better to tell you now than wait later. So you can just, all this was just thrown in my lap. So that's what I want people to understand is that no matter what you're going through, either there's someone who's been through something worse, or that this book right here can prepare you for what is to come, things that we don't even know that's coming our way, but you'll be encouraged and inspired to go through it, knowing, okay, God, this is you at work, allowing it to happen for a reason.
My guest today has been Owen Watson. He's the author of the inspirational self-help book, What Matters Most, Family, Friends, and Foes. Again, the book is What Matters Most, Family, Friends, and Foes. Owen, thank you
Yes.
for joining me on Your World Discovered.
Thank you. I appreciate the time.
This is Your World Discovered. My name is David Ewen, and this is E.P.N.